iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
I auditioned for the show before the La Jolla production of it, like 2 years ago now. I initially auditioned for Bob, actually, the main Soch in the first act. And throughout the process of doing it, Brody moved over from Soda Pop to Pony Boy. And so Soda Pop opened up. I remember asking my agent if there was a slot open for the Greasers when I first got the tape, and they were all filled. And so I was very blessed on the timing of that. And then did La Jolla, did a few workshops in between, and then did Broadway.
Yeah. And I saw you in the lobby during your final callback.
Oh, yeah.
We were both at final callbacks together, and I saw him in the hallway, and I'm a nervous talker, so I was like sitting there and making conversation and you were being very polite to me. You're like, yeah, and I asked you about like a TV show. I asked you about...
was yapping.
I was yapping, and I asked him about House of the Dragon. He's like, yeah, I didn't love it. And I was like, oh man, I loved it. Anyway, break a leg. But it
came around. House of the Dragons came around.
Yeah, right? Okay, cool. I can't stop watching it right now. Anyway, I auditioned at the same time Jason did, that same process right before the La Jolla production. I actually was working in a distillery at the time, and I had like taken a break from performing. And I got an audition, and it was like several rounds. And I was actually auditioning for Paul, another character in the show, Dan Barry, who now plays gloriously now. And I iconically, and so I went through a really long audition process for that, and I met Jason in the process, and it was love at first sight. Well, we need to clear the air about something that I previously said about shirtless men in the show. There used to be 5. Or some such.
I appreciate you doing
now
this.
Now, there used to be 4 or 5 shirtless men. Now it's just Jason. Now it's just Jason.
That's the biggest change.
That's the biggest
think,
change,
yeah.
I would say.
At the end of the day, really the only thing that really changed is that
is the volume of shirtless men.
They're still crying.
There was always crying.
A lot of things changed from La Jolla to here. The show really sharpened. It's hard because I had people asking me, friends, while we were in the rehearsal process and previews, what had changed. It was hard to put my finger on like any big thing that had changed, but it was a lot of small stuff that sharpened the show up. They incorporated the language of the Rumble, the violence of the Rumble, into the rest of the violence in the show, which I think was such a brilliant idea, because then when it pops up in the Rumble, it is this full arc of the violence in the show.
I think that being my first out of town like Broadway incubator experience, it was interesting to see how like you said, it sharpens, like the themes become more clear. And really when you're doing your out of town, we really built the thing from the ground up, and we really just like started playing with these ideas and throwing things at the wall and seeing what worked and what didn't. And in La Jolla, like there was a point where, we just like, we didn't quite know what it was, but we knew it was good. And we knew that we had something here. And sort of like the transition between La Jolla now was sort of just like really committing to the things that we liked, and sort of like deciding what that vocabulary is for like violence is such a big theme in the show, and figuring out how that's stylized in the show and how that language works. Like things like that, just sharpening in on themes and really committing to our ideas that we fell in love with. And expanding upon them.
Interesting, the things that when we came in the rehearsal room for the Broadway show, of that there were some things we came in the room and we were like, okay, we're doing exactly what we did in La Jolla, and then there were some things that were explored anew. Yeah,
it was very, I think we were, as a cast, very surprised at how much was changed, because La Jolla was a completely different production, and we basically built everything from the ground up again, sort of with like the informed experience of what we had done before, which I imagine most of those processes, they're kind of like that.
Yeah, it was a great phone call, one of the best I've ever gotten. It's an interesting thing, because I think from the La Jolla production, I was very confident that it was going to go to Broadway, and have been confident in the show since the beginning. And so when I got the call, it was this elated excitement, and also, yeah, of course, we knew what we were doing was special.
I was in my hometown. I was going to work at a bar that I was working at, and I got the call on my way to work, and I like screamed and I like ran down like the main drag of my hometown. It's like, I'm going to Broadway. Like, it was kind of obnoxious, but I, you only have like that moment one time.
Yeah.
So I sort of lit up.
Yeah.
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 So yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I've been saying that.
Yeah.
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 The story is still relevant today because it will always be relevant because everyone feels like an outsider at one point or another in their life. I know I have. We had a whole section of rehearsal that each of us as a cast kind of talked about that feeling in their lives when they felt that they were an outsider. And I think it helps a lot of people feel seen in that way. We've had so many beautiful interactions at the stage door where people are telling us about their stories and how this story means so much to them because of the fact that there's been points in their life where they felt like an outsider. And I think it will never not be relevant for that reason.
Yeah, I think the story is... What's so amazing about the story is it was written by, a young woman when she was like 15, and how universal the themes are is it's amazing. Like you said, going to the stage door and you have people who are still resonating with the words of a 15-year-old in 1967 and connecting to my character, at least in my experience. Me and my character have very little in common. Like I'm sort of like a flighty, anxious, like nervous talker, and he's a very stoic, still calculated man. But like I think something that makes the connection easy is that idea of the desire to want to be seen and sort of the hesitation of allowing yourself to be. And I think that's sort of a bridge I build with my character, and I think that's what's universal about the story, and I think that's what people feel when they come to the stage door and they tell us that the story means so much to them is because like they also have a desire to be seen, but they struggle to allow themselves to be. And I think that's what's so universal about the story, and I think that's what resonates with a lot of the fans who have read this book when they were in middle school or something, and they clung to something. And I think that was what they clung to, was the idea of nobody really sees me, and I see so much, but I don't think that me, myself, I'm being seen. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's something that resonates with a lot of people, and it's really profound that it came from the voice of a woman so young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the opposite end, I am very much like my character in the show.
Yeah.
And with that, though, he brought out so much that was inside me that maybe I had fears about or anxieties about. And that's why I love playing the character so much. He's such a loose individual and yet so caring, and he's not super book smart, but he's super street smart and emotionally intelligent. And the way he brings the family together, I really resonate with. And yeah, he brought out so much inside me that was already there, that resonated with him. So very cool experience, but different experience than what you
Very, very different, but yeah, I love playing with you. All right, we're gonna cut that one.
Brent and I, before every show, there was one day, I think I was the one. There was one day where we started talking about the idea of like acting as playing jazz, because you're like
it was a very highbrow conversation.
And like the piano at one point is playing the normal chords and the trumpet's improvising, and then the trumpet plays the chords. Well,
you were like, yeah, acting's like jazz, and then
making me sound like a douche.
Oh, okay. No, back it up.
You loved that.
I did.
What I was leading to is we say it before every performance.
Yes.
We're sitting behind the curtain, Pony Boy's singing in the front, Brent comes over while I'm on the bed, gives me a hug, and I say, let's play some jazz.
That is.
And he goes, shut up, Jason.
No, that is our pre-show ritual. It happens before every show. Oh, this is a story. Because we were going. Everything was so fast.
Oh yeah, I was like gonna say it was the coolest 10 minutes of my life.
So they rushed us in, and like we were there. We were at the Tonys. Everyone's like, "How was the Tonys?" I was like, "We were there for 30 minutes." Yeah. And like, so they bust us in.
Yeah, I'd say 20.
20 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So we had rehearsed all day. We had performed it like 3 times.
Taking a fat nap after the rehearsal.
So let me start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So
take a breath.
We had a rehearsal very early in the day, and we ran through it once, very frantically, because they don't have a lot of time. They got a show, and we had like 4 hours between when we did our rehearsal performance and then when we had to actually do it. So we like walked around, everybody took a nap, and then we started watching it. We had a setup in our basement to start watching the Tonys. The theater set it up for us, so we were all sitting down there. There was pizza, there was soda and stuff, and we were sitting there in our onesies watching like the first part of the Tonys, and then they were like, okay, get on the bus, we're going to the Lincoln Center. So we got up there and we performed very, very fast. We saw some very famous people, and then we were
Jeffrey Wright tickled my armpit.
No. Oh, that's right.
2 minutes before.
That's right. He did.
So Stereophonic had just won Best Play, and they like came through, and we were waiting backstage.
We created a tunnel for them.
And we created a tunnel for them. And Jeffrey Wright was their presenter, and he came by and he went, just kept walking.
Yeah. And then
the best moment of my life.
You turned to me, you're like, I can't believe that just happened. Like, me either, man. So we went out and we performed very, very quickly, and then we rushed back to the theater because they were the big awards were being announced immediately after. So we like rushed really fast to get back, and we were all sitting. I was in my underwear. And because I hadn't gotten dressed yet, but we were sitting in the basement, and
you were sitting in the basement in your underwear?
Yes, okay. And we were waiting for.
I didn't remember seeing that. Sorry to interrupt the story. Keep going.
Yeah, anyway, one of the awards I was in my underwear, but we were like sitting there, and we were waiting for them to announce it. And as soon as we announced it, the place just erupted.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
that was crazy. It was a beautiful experience. He covered the whole thing.
Yeah, I really ate that one up. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Really chewed
you did
that
a
to
beautiful
death.
job.
I really chewed that to death.
No, it's okay. You did a great job.
Do you have anything to add?
I'm proud of you. No.
I speak for both of us when I say it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
It was a great night. And then, like afterwards, like we got
How long did you stay out? Come on, be honest.
I got home at like 6.
Okay, that's not as bad as some people.
That's not bad.
I got home at like 4:30. But I know that there was a few like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. people.
Such a good boy, Jason. Got home at 4:30. But
I just can't.
No,
I need to go to bed before the sun's up, man.
It was an amazing night. Everybody, like the after party, like everyone who had been involved with the production came, and it was really a special night that it's one of the best nights of my life.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
I have a memorable moment from just the other day. There was a girl at the stage door who I signed her playbill, and she goes, I have a really bad relationship with my older sister, and the first thing I'm doing on my walk home is I'm going to call her. And
oh my God.
That was so beautiful.
That's so beautiful.
And that's happened a few times with people telling me about their tough relationships with their siblings and how they look at them differently after seeing the show. And that's like everything to me. Like it's so special. Like that's why you do the thing. Of course there's entertainment and all that stuff, but when you reach something past that to like really affect people, it's so beautiful.
Just those few moments that you have that like you really cherish, or like moments like that.
Yeah.
But the fan base is like our fans are unlike any Broadway fans I've ever seen before.
It's crazy.
Like they show up and they show out.
Mm-hmm.
Every night we go out to the stage door,
it's loud.
The 45th is packed, and it's so energizing because the show is so demanding. So like, it really, there's no, I guess, better or more gratifying feeling as an artist when you really lay something out there and you really go out on a tightrope.
Yeah.
And you have fans who appreciate your work, who are there to receive it.
Yeah. And
our fans receive it so well, and they really, really, they just energize us so much because this show is very demanding physically, emotionally. So when you have a support system like that and you have fans like that, it really just like it makes the week so much easier. And not that it's not enjoyable, it's just like it's very energizing as an artist.
Yeah, we pour our hearts out there, and it can be exhausting at points, and it's such a beautiful thing when you have a lively audience or the people at the stage door that remind you why you're doing it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And the story affected me with the book and the movie growing up. It was my mom's favorite movie. My dad read the book to me, and it's cool to continue that legacy. And we have some teachers have come up to us and been like, thank you for creating this, because my kids are re-interested in this book, and it's so much easier to get them involved in reading it and telling them the story and learning things about it.
A lot of teachers and a lot of schools. We have a lot of student matinees, and actually, like, it's funny because matinees are like notoriously like difficult for actors to do, but our matinees are some of my favorite performances, because we have students there who are probably reading the book or have recently read the book, and it's like a concert. They're like, they're probably
unfiltered response.
I know. Get out of school, you go see a Broadway show about the book that you're reading, and it's the student matinees are my favorite performances. My advice to young performers is to sort of see things, experience, consume art, things that you like, discover your taste and discover what moves you and what gets you up and what energizes you as an artist, because that's really like what's going to shoot you off in a direction. And it's really, as an artist, you really need to sort of fill your own cup, and you need to be filled by things that you take in and experience. And I would say, as a young artist, discover what your taste is and discover what your voice is, and you do that by consuming and experiencing other people's art. Yeah,
absolutely. I would say embrace failure. Try everything and embrace that most of the things you're going to fail at, and you're going to continue to fail and fail and fail, and then eventually, at some point, you're going to succeed. And I think it's through the failing that you actually learn the lessons that you need to learn. There's some people who succeed all the time, and they don't actually understand the reality of what you're doing, and so through the process of continuing to try things every day, I think that's the important part. It's like any type of skill. Sometimes acting or singing doesn't feel like that, but if you were an athlete and you wanted to make it to the NBA, the NFL, you would practice your sport every single day, the technique of it, playing real games. If you're an actor, if you're a musician, it's the same thing, pick up a monologue every day and just do it for a little bit, and it's not about being perfect. It's not about
annoy your neighbors.
Yeah.
Like work so much that you annoy your neighbors. Like, you know how many neighbors have told me to just shut up, stop singing? Sorry, continue. I interrupted.
No, that's a good detail. Yeah, but yes, it's put in the work for it, but never seek to be perfect within it. I think I was a perfectionist for so long, and that getting over that was when I actually started to like make leeway to becoming the type of artist I wanted to be, because you gotta just try things and continue to try them. And similarly with that, like, you're consuming a lot because other people's voices helps you find yours.
Yes.
And then you, through the doing of it, while consuming that, like, for a long time I was watching like every Tom Hardy movie I could, or every Leonardo DiCaprio movie I could, and then when I would pick up a monologue, I'd be like, what would Leonardo DiCaprio do with this? And then through the process of doing that, I found the parts of me that came out from doing each of those, kind of trying to replicate each of those actors, and I found my own voice and my own style with it.
Exactly. Like you discover what inspires you, and then every artist takes things that they like and they disregard things that they don't like, and through that you sort of create your own recipe or your own formula for your own work.
Yeah.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.